Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Aloha Friday. It's January 26th, and you're listening and watching the Daily AI Show live. And today, we're talking about a McKinsey report that came out just a little bit ago. And we're going to dive all the way into that. There's 10 different things that they mentioned. The article in McKinsey report was called 10 Unsung Digital and AI Ideas Shaping Business. So we will get into all of that. But today we have Jyunmi, Beth, Karl, Andy, and I'm Brian. And we're going to do our best to kind of move through this because I think it's an interesting report. It's interesting how different parts and pieces of it play into AI. What I can do is just share my screen really quick. We'll do a quick overview and then we'll dive into the individual sections if that works for you guys.
Sounds good.
Here we go. Okay, so this is the article we're talking about again, 10 unsung digital and AI ideas shaping business. And essentially what they do is they just go ahead and here's the 10 right here. I'll leave it up on the screen. And we're going to go through each one of these. So I won't take the time to like read them all out right now. But yeah, let's just have a conversation. That was the idea for the show today, is just talk about these 10 ideas. So we don't have to keep this up on the screen. We'll call them out as we move to the next one. But the first one on here are builders are eating the world. And what they say is like, we're familiar with the reference inside software is eating the world. We think that's true, but we really think it's going to be about the builders. This is especially true in AI, continues to advance and the cost of technology-based innovation decline, both of which will change not just business, but also the business models. So I think I agree with this one. I don't know, what's your guys' take on this? I definitely think the future is a world of builders. And there's some other ideas in here as well that I think go along with it.
Absolutely.
Any comments?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm going to say a couple things here just to tell you what my role is going to be in this discussion. So I read this whole thing and I started to get annoyed at how obtuse and overblown the representations of what should be very simple ideas in business strategy are. And so I gave the article to GPT-4 and I said, explain something about the language here. And it said, the language in the McKinsey article is characteristic of consultant speak, making use of jargon, abstract concepts, buzzwords, imprecision, overemphasis on novelty, and an underlying assumption of expertise. This style can serve to make the content appear more important, nuanced, and complex than it might actually be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these. You can read it out or whatever. And I'm going to tell you what ChatGPT then said is how you would explain this section to a 10th grader in high school.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one about builders is use computer programs to create new things like apps or online services and keep improving them quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. I think there's more to that, which is what it's saying here. The costs are coming down. So it's becoming easier and easier to build with speed and efficiency is the way I kind of look at that. And that's just opening it up to a lot of businesses who maybe previously could not afford to do build outs because of just the massive cost of time and who they might be having to pay for, expertise and stuff. So I don't know. That's the way I see it.
That's an excellent point, that innovation through new product development and introduction is becoming less expensive. But they're basically making this into a meme, which is builders are going to take over the world. What? Well, yeah, people have built. The builders already own the world. They built with software, continue to use software to build things. It's getting cheaper. I like that one. That's a good one. I think we can all agree with it.
And there's an aspect of this. We're going to move on. I'm currently
cost you more than $100,000 a month to get McKinsey to tell you that, though.
So if you would like someone to speak regular language in a consulting kind of role, reach out to one of us. But I'm also in a no code AI boot camp. You can look it up from the 100 Days of No Code, and there's so much that is possible with like quick, cheap, no code. Like not just the builders being able, like this moves into the second one too. Not just that the builders are taking over the world, but if you have an idea, you can make a prototype in a weekend. Like you can make a prototype not knowing how to use the program that's going to make the prototype in a weekend. If you have a good idea and you have some idea of how it functions, it's that quick.
Yeah, builders are great.
Mm-hmm.
Go builders.
Have you when I saw this report, the only thing that I kept thinking about is, have you seen the John Oliver skit on McKinsey?
Yep.
That's the only thing that I really was thinking about.
Well, I think the overall, before we move on, I think the overall is just that there's very little new concepts here. It's just they put it all together for people who don't know anything to get a step in. I think that's
harsh.
No, it's good to see it compiled. For us, I think it's not anything. There's no new information here. It's just here we're highlighting the things that we think is important. So
isn't that McKinsey's role, though?
But the headline was it's unsung, implying that people aren't talking about this, but we're going to share with you these deep insights that McKinsey has.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Okay, but the people who are paying $100,000 for McKinsey aren't talking about this, and it is unsung for them, right? Like, we are not their audience. Brian.
That's true. Yeah.
We're gonna move on because this is about what our interpretation of it is and how we see it applying, as the 6 of us see it applying, 5 of us, I can count, to how it applies to AI as we see it. So I think it's really about our interpretation of it. I don't think I'm putting a whole lot of weight in the McKinsey report and being like, oh my God, this from McKinsey. Because yes, I agree with a lot of what you guys just said. But yeah, I think there's some good ideas here. And that's the idea, is to kind of share this. I did not realize Karl was going to come swinging like it was Google. So that threw me off guard there.
I have nothing against McKinsey. All I said was, have you seen the John
Sure.
It's hilarious.
We hear you. In a week's time, it's going to be like McKinsey doesn't work in Canada. They don't do any reports in Canada. We know how this goes, Karl. It'd be just like Google.
Keep going, Brian. Let's see if we can find some pearls of great price in here.
All right. Well, the second one is innovators dominate headlines, but scalers dominate markets. All right, Andy, give us what the 10-year-old or 10th grade, which was it?
Okay. Make sure your new ideas work well for many people, not just a few, and make sure your systems can build them to address those many people. You've got to reach scale in order to succeed.
Yep. And for me, building on what I just said, you can make an MVP in a weekend, which means you can probably serve 100, 150, maybe 500. But as you start to scale, have a plan for that, because things are going much faster. And yes, your ability to scale then is your ability to succeed in the next stage.
Mine briefly on this one is just to simply say, don't paint yourself into a corner. AI is moving so fast. It does take, we were just talking about this right before the show went live for our show and building a website and stuff like that. And there's some really fast AI tools that'll get us up and running. But Jyunmi, you were just saying, yeah, man, sometimes you got to be careful. It may still make sense to go towards a WordPress or something similar, because we don't want to paint ourselves in a corner. We don't want to find out 6 months from now we cannot move the data or we can't grow or expand. So that was the big thing I got from this, is scale, but scale smartly. Make sure that you're thinking at least a little bit in the head, and you're not saying, well, this is fast, but this is fast towards a dead end. And then how hard is it to back up out of that dead end? Chances are it's going to cost you a lot more money and a lot more time and resources than if you just slowed down a little bit now and thought about what your path forward, your ultimate goal is, as opposed to what today's ultimate goal is.
Right.
So that's how I
big. That's big. So if you're going to go big, then make sure the architecture you choose at the outset is capable of scaling. That's an important point. But there's not a lot of AI. That's been true all along. So that's go on to number 3.
All right. Well, McKinsey came up with Moore's Law. No, what it says is they're claiming it. No, that's not what it is. I shouldn't say that. Leaders master the digital more, but they're saying more in parentheses as MORE law, not what we would know to be Moore's Law with 2 O's in it. So that's where the number, that one, the 00, is the number of transistors in integrated circuits doubles about every 2 years. We're familiar with that. There's a lot of people that disagree with whether it's still accurate or not, all that stuff. They said there's a similar trend to play when it comes to digital AI in terms of compounding advantage. We call it the MORE, as an MORE law. Very, very nice there. The distance between digital and AI leaders and their industry competitors is growing. Okay, Andy, what's the quick one? And then I don't know, Karl or Jyunmi or somebody jump in on this one.
Stay ahead with your technology. Use computers and smart programs to do things better than other companies.
Yeah. Okay.
They're saying, look, there's a gap between the people who are really embracing new technology in the form of generative AI and those who aren't. So the advice is do it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else to add.
McKinsey and Nike, just do it.
Is going to stand out in my mind. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to be thinking about this episode 6 months from now. I've been like, man.
Right.
Actually, I like the back and forth, because if you get the basic, like it's like a framework for now. Brian, tell us what your read of it was, because you're adding the nuances, I think, that are embraceable by our audience, which is beyond the 10th grade, hopefully.
Well, Jyunmi, go with what you're going to say, Jyunmi, because I don't want it to be all about what my opinion is.
Right. Well, I mean, I have to agree with Andy on this one. The takeaway is integrate AI into your systems across the board. I think that's essentially what the takeaway of this point is.
Yeah. Start. Do.
Yeah. Do it. Start.
That's
start
what I would say. That would be my takeaway is start now, because you don't want that compounding disadvantage to be something that'd be a chasm that you can't cross when you decide a year from now, when you just held up and didn't do anything with AI. And there's a big difference between paying and subscribing to huge AI services and solutions and just simply allowing your employees, your executives, people to get familiar with simple AI concepts today, because you don't want to find that you have to start from a dead stop a year from now. I definitely think that's a disadvantage you do not want to find yourself in. So that would be my takeaway. Go ahead, Karl.
Maybe a tiny pushback on that, and it's more about I got this email from somebody that I worked with a very long time ago, and they're like, "Hey, Karl, we want to digitize our business." And I was like, "What?" So they're laying out like all the reasons why they've never done digital. They've never gone in. They're very, I don't know, mom and pop shop, but it's a big company. And I was like, "How did you survive for this long?" So it got me thinking. When we say you do not want to get caught off guard, I have a feeling there will be businesses that will continue just to plod along in the face of AI and just continue to plod, and they'll still do well, and they won't really need to invest in it. I think like the only way that will put the pressure on them, I don't even think it's competitors. It's if the environment they're working in suddenly is changing so much that they have no choice. And I don't think there's in an environment right now that is forcing that, unless you go into solopreneurs or contracting where AI is being used more. But I think from there's a lot of businesses that there is no environmental pressure to go into AI. It's nice to have it.
Yeah.
But could you actually say, hey, we're doing better than our competitors that don't have it?
So things like chemical, chem tech.
On the scale of businesses, I think at the high enterprise level where McKinsey plays, I think it's more important there than it is for the small mom and pop.
Yeah, my follow-up question, Karl, is what percentages of business, like there's so many different fields and things like that, and Andy pointed out it's definitely more pressure in that higher field where McKinsey is. What percentage of businesses do you think can still plod along?
Are we talking about enterprise level businesses, or are we talking like in their playground, or is it like all
in general? Yeah, if you were going to take a broad look at it,
my argument, and I'm probably biased because the number of businesses our target is, I would say 70-80% don't really need, like when we go in, it's like amazing, yeah, let's do this. But if I look back and be like, did you really need this right now? Not necessarily. Your business could still survive. and probably can survive for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Some of your competitors may be using it to get ahead of you. Like, I think the value proposition we bring is, hey, you could plod along for the next 5 years. Sure, you'll probably be successful too, maybe. But I think, like, why don't we just supercharge you and prep you?
Gotcha.
Right? Like, future-proof the entire thing. So here's another question for everyone too. I hear a lot of surveys. I see a lot of surveys, and people are like, oh, our business is AI prepared. Like, you have that like small percentage that's like, we are preparing for the future and so on. But then I bet you if we actually, any of us go into those businesses and actually see what prepared means, it will be very, very different. And I feel that prepared could mean something as simple as, we bought ChatGPT for Teams. Now we're prepared for AI. Let's go. And that's it, right? That would be
right.
So, and when somebody asks them, because there's so many times, I'm sure you heard of it, oh, we use AI, so we're prepared. But then you dig a little deeper. What are you using AI for? Oh, we just copywriting. Or do you use the free version? Yeah, that's all we use. That is not like, that's anybody. So the definition of that could mean different things for different people.
Great. All right, we're going to move on to number 4, and I think this is a quick one. Digital and AI leaders must forever be transformers. All right, Andy, what do you got for the summary on this one?
Keep updating your technology.
Yeah, I think this one's not my favorite. I didn't think there was a whole lot to unpack here. We think it's important that digital and AI transformation is something you're going to be doing for the rest of your career rather than a final destination. Yeah, but that's not. There's nothing wowing there for me. That could be said for a lot, but I do agree with it. You know.
Yeah. So I just want to say one thing, because what's happening, we come to this periodically. This is not like you're staying current with your Microsoft upgrades, right? Although stay current with your Microsoft upgrades because now they have AI. But AI is not software. AI is a leap or a like a whole new thing that works a whole new way. Like, in that context, be ready for continual transformation, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll move on to 5. If knowledge is power, data is knowledge. Andy?
Data is important. Collect and use your information wisely to make good decisions and inform your processes and automations.
Okay. Yep. I actually don't mind that. That summary actually is, I think, pretty fair on that one. Obviously, I talk about data a lot. I'm a big proponent of get your house in order. I've said that many, many times. I just don't think you can build a solid company. I don't care if it's already in existence or you're going to start it out, if you've got a poor foundation. And when it comes to business, that foundation is most likely going to be built on your data and your structure and how things are siloed. And AI is going to help in a lot of ways, but it could also exasperate. I think I got that right. The problem by actually creating more silos. And I think a lot of people see AI as a great tool and solution and partner in breaking down these silos and democratizing data. However, I think there's just as good of a chance of that being the opposite if you're not careful, because what you could have are you could empower your organization to get really, really smart about AI. But if they start building those AI solutions in financial and in marketing or whatever, you're going to create AI silos, and you've got to be careful about that. So that's what I took away from this one. What do you guys got?
Data is socks, right? Things you put on your feet. What does your sock drawer look like? If you want a particular pair of socks, how easy is it for you to find it? And are they on the floor? Have you lost socks in the corner? Right? Like, and I don't really care what your sock drawer looks like, but this is a way to frame it, right? If you are looking for a particular pair of socks, how easy is it for you to find it? And if you don't know it right away, your sock drawer is not the knowledge that you wish it were.
And what's the analogy for the dryer then? Because the dryer takes this. I does that feel? What's the business version of the
That's a
dryer?
failed hard drive.
Is that the IRS? They just takes your shit.
Yeah, that's hardware implementation. Yeah.
So I'll add something here. In developing AI applications, I've ended up dividing that into two different processes. One is architecting the interaction with the LLMs. So these are LLM-based applications. And the other one is creating a data pipeline that feeds the knowledge base that's informing that unique implementation of the LLM. And so that data feed is a prerequisite to doing it. And that's true, I think, for you guys, Karl, your companies, because they have to put something into the knowledge base, the document store, the vector database, depending on your architecture, in order to get a chatbot that's going to work well.
Right.
Gotcha.
Any other thoughts on number 5 before we move on? No. All right.
Give me superpowers.
A workforce with Gen AI superpowers needs a human breakthrough. I would have personally wrote this as a workforce with Gen AI superpowers needs data and AI literacy. What do you guys think?
I think, I'm sure Andy's ChatGPT-4 breakdown will essentially say this. This is teach your workers how to use Gen AI, and they will be better workers. I think.
Okay,
that's
here's what. Jyunmi, you.
Oh, am I off? Oh no, I'm terribly.
No, you are not, sir. You are not. Teach your workers how to use Gen AI technology to do their jobs better.
Wow. Nailed it.
Well, it's nice to know that I'm just as good as GPT-4.
You're just as good as GPT-4.
And while we're doing the breakthrough, can we make the jobs more satisfying, more engaging, more seem to have more so the things that feel like they're really valuable to the people doing them, that they have more time to do that, because they're often the things that feel really valuable to their clients and customers and people who receive your services.
And I think it's the message too, and it kind of goes on this, but I'm just real big on this too, that if I'm a leader, if I'm talking about bringing these AI tools, I've got to be at least aware enough to know that there is definitely some concern, some anxiety that comes along with that. Will AI replace my job? Are they really just bringing me in here to teach the baseline model so then they can go get an AI that's going to kick me out the door? Am I basically training my replacement? And so I think there's a lot that could be done here from communication, if it's done correctly, from leadership that says, no, hold on a second. We're not trying to replace you. As a matter of fact, what we're trying to do is get the stuff off your table that we didn't hire you to do in the first place. It's just a part of your job. It comes with the package. You've had to do this, this, and this, and these are these repetitive things. And hey, we don't love that we pay you to do that either. It just goes along with it. Now we have these AI solutions that are going to be able to take some of this off your plate. And you know what we really hired you for? We hired you because we think you're amazing, because we think you bring something to the team, because when 2 + 2 = 5, we're all better for it. And so now by taking these AI things and getting them off your plate, we're really excited to see what you can do when you open up yourself and you have more time to be the amazing person you are. There's a world of difference between saying that and being like, I need you guys to learn AI.
Right.
It's communication.
Right.
But that's not always true. Like for some businesses, you are hired to do a specific task that AI could now do. Like
possibly.
Right. Obviously you want to position it in a way that, hey, I want you to learn it. So, you can alleviate this part of your job so you can go higher, be more strategic. Think about all the things that you could do now that you have it. But when it comes down to it, again, the number one thing I keep hearing, discovery call, hey, how can we reduce headcount on this? Joking or not joking? It's
not joking.
Question, right? They're not joking too.
Yeah.
It's just looking, how do you make business more efficient? Headcount is part of it, unfortunately. Now, the cool thing about this is, I think once we get through that phase where, you hire people to do like these menial tasks that AI could do, I'm this is where I think like the next level jobs of the future will be, right? You'll have maybe more strategic type of jobs where it's like, I want somebody to figure out how you can use all these AI tools to like do this, and this. That's the type of job I want you to do now. No longer do I need 2 people to do these kind of things. I need 1 or 2 people to oversee that, like the I don't know, the AGI or the string of AI tools to make them all work together, right? Because you can kind of start seeing there may be some silos where some teams use this kind of AI, some teams use this kind of AI, but I feel the next level would be, hey, how can we amalgamate everything so that like everything works together, and who are the people that are going to oversee and come up with new ways to do that?
Yeah. Well said. All right, we're going to go on a bit of a speed round here because we got a couple more minutes, but we have 4 more to do. So we can all kind of take a shot at one of these, but every company will become a neural business. Neural as in N-E-U-R-A-L. Andy, what did you get for the GPT-4 on that one?
This is an interesting point, which is, reorganize so that small groups working independently can come up with great ideas quickly and then share them with the other small groups that you've divided this thing atomically into, rather than having a typical hierarchical organization with functional groups, tiger teams, so to speak.
Yeah. I like this one. Who else? Anybody else have a thought on this one?
It's essentially, it just points out that you should use agile.
Right.
Your company.
Yeah. And they even kind of talk about that too. Yeah. 8, 8 wasn't I didn't love it. So we can kind of hit it really quick. IT as a service is the next generation of your tech function. All right, Andy, what did you get for that one? And if anybody else wants to jump in this one, I didn't get a lot.
Your IT functions so that
you froze, Andy. What was it?
New ideas and makes things easier for all the other small groups who are working.
All right, say that one more time because you froze on us, or at least you did for me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, reorganize IT so that it is focused on helping these small small teams that are working, help them with tools and training.
Yeah.
Okay. I like your.
I mean, that's that's pretty much how I've ever set up an IT team. Is they're there to support all the other functions so that they all work smoothly.
So no ahas on this one, Jyunmi. You're saying this is pretty standard.
No. I'm just going to say, like, be kind to your IT team. You may not understand what your IT team does, and while we're giving everyone else superpowers, we're giving the IT team, right, a ton more to manage for a ton more people who are used to being able to just say, "Hey, Karl, what is this?" Right. And Karl is not the only one in IT in his company. In fact, the IT people sometimes look at Karl and go, well, what are you doing to us now? Right. Like,
if you're a good IT, they won't ask you. They won't say any of that. They'll just like, oh,
all right. Kind of prove your mettle. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, Karl, because they would have already anticipated your need to wreck everything. I'm just to adapt the system, and if they're set up properly, they'll be adapting the system just in line with what you want to implement.
Okay, so we lost Brian.
9. The name of the game is the same. Value. Andy?
Use technology to increase your profits.
Literally, that's it. That is it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they tried to go beyond that, because just the title is do it's always been the same.
Yeah, and they specifically refer to value in the acronym TSR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you know what TSR is?
No.
Tell us.
Okay, total shareholder return. What does that mean? How do shareholders get their return? McKinsey implies that it's some complex formula that gives you.
Okay, well, we'll end it here. I'm not sure what happened. Sorry we didn't get to the last 2. If you can still hear us, make sure you come out and come back next week. We have a lot of great topics to talk about. And again, for any technical difficulties there. See you next week.